Hello and welcome to the presentation on the imperative, in which we'll learn how to give an order or make a suggestion in French, such as, let's start. What is the imperative tense? We use this tense to give orders and to make suggestions, and the only people we can address with this tense are you and we. In French this gives us tu, nous and vous. Example number 1, stop the car gives us arrête la voiture, in which we're speaking to tu. Example number 2, let's listen to the music becomes in French, écoutons la musique. And example number 3, sleep well, in which we're speaking to vous, becomes dormez bien. This could be a suggestion or a wish made to several people, or just to one person and speaking in the formal way by using vous. We mentioned that the purpose of the imperative was to communicate orders or suggestions. With the imperative, we can suggest to a group of people to do something. Example number 1, let's walk, marchons. We can also give an order. Wait, attends, attendez. Let's now have a look at how we build the imperative. The conjugation will be the same as for the present tense. The only difference is that we don't include the subject. We have two columns here in which we compare one and the other. If we know the present tense of a certain verb, we just take off the subject. Tu manges ton dîner is a statement, which means you are eating your dinner. To say eat your dinner, we just say mange ton dîner. Same thing with nous lisons un livre, which becomes lisons un livre, let's read a book. And buvez de l'eau, which means drink some water. In all three cases, we've simply taken off the subject. Tu, nous and vous. If you ever have the intention to spell in French, it's worthy of note that there are spelling changes with tu, which is the pronoun that traditionally always takes s in all tenses. When using er verbs specifically in the imperative, we don't add an s. In the example of tu manges, you are eating, manger has an s. But when we change it to the imperative, the s is no longer there. Same thing with you are playing, tu joues. This becomes joue with no s. This being said, the exception to the rule is when the order is followed by the pronouns en and I. We add an s for the purpose of creating a liaison and avoiding a hiccup. To say eat some, we say mange-en. To say go there, we say vas-y. In this first exercise, we have 10 sentences that we want to turn into orders or suggestions, and the answers are: number 1, viens ici. Number 2, parle plus fort. Number 3, attendons ici. Number 4, ouvrez la porte. Number 5, restons à l'intérieur. Number 6, utilise l'ascenseur. Number 7, lance la balle. Number 8, pensez à moi. Number 9, allons en ville. Number 10, achetons des fruits. We can of course use the imperative to give a negative order, such as don't do that. To do this, we simply need to place ne pas around the verb. The positive order mange ton dîner, eat your dinner, becomes ne mange pas. Example number 2, regardons, let's look. Ne regardons pas, let's not look. Number 3, buvez l'eau, drink the water, becomes ne buvez pas l'eau, don't drink the water. Here we have an exercise in which we want to turn the orders into the negative. And the answers are: number 1, ne décide pas maintenant. Number 2, n'oublie pas notre rendez-vous. Number 3, n'allume pas le radiateur. Number 4, n'éteignez pas la lumière. Number 5, n'utilisez pas mon vélo. Number 6, ne regardez pas la surprise. The next point relates to a larger rule in French, which is that a direct object in a negative sentence goes through a change of article. As a reminder, let's look at the rule once more. Sentence number 1, je vois un oiseau, becomes je ne vois pas d'oiseau. Number 2, j'ai une voiture becomes je n'ai pas de voiture. Number 3, j'ai du sucre becomes je n'ai pas de sucre. Number 4, je vois des voitures becomes je ne vois pas de voitures. And number 5, je veux de la salade becomes je ne veux pas de salade. This rule naturally applies to the imperative also. Answers 1 to 5 are: ne prenez pas d'argent. Number 2, ne fais pas de fautes. Number 3, ne porte pas de choses lourdes. Number 4, n'écoute pas de musique. Number 5, ne collez pas d'affiches ici. We can also use reflexive verbs in the imperative. And if you're not familiar with this tense, we have a video on this website that covers these. Many reflexive verbs are also used in the imperative, which makes sense as the action is turned towards ourselves. Example, sit yourself down becomes assieds-toi. In this example, the verb s'asseoir is reflexive because the person doing and receiving the action are the same. Let's look at how to build a reflexive imperative such as sit yourself down. Example number 1, the verb s'asseoir means sit down. In the present tense, which is the green column, this would give us tu t'assieds, you are sitting yourself down. In the imperative with tu, this gives us assieds-toi. With nous, this gives us asseyons-nous, and with vous, it becomes asseyez-vous. Next example, number 2, the verb se reposer, to rest. In the green column we have the present tense. You are resting, tu te reposes. To give an order or to make a suggestion, this would give us repose-toi, reposons-nous, reposez-vous. We have 2 more examples of the same. To say you are hurrying in the present tense, we say vous vous dépêchez. But if we were to give an order, this would be dépêche-toi, dépêchons-nous, dépêchez-vous. And finally, number 4, getting dressed, s'habiller, in the imperative gives us habille-toi, habillons-nous, habillez-vous. As we can see, the pronoun tu now takes toi, which we place after the verb, while nous and vous follow a different pattern. The nous and vous go straight after the verb, and there isn't a new word such as toi that's used. In the next 10 sentences, we want to create reflexive imperatives. The answers are: number 1, souviens-toi. Number 2, reposez-vous. Number 3, concentrons-nous. Number 4, assieds-toi. Number 5, tais-toi. Number 6, brosse-toi les dents. Number 7, levez-vous. Number 8, changez-vous. Number 9, amuse-toi. Number 10, arrêtons-nous. Our 4th and final case will be to look at negative reflexive verbs in the imperative, such as don't stand yourself up. The only real change is that toi is now replaced by te. We have 3 examples here: stand up, get dressed, and hurry up. In the positive, this gives us lève-toi, and in the negative, ne te lève pas. Habille-toi, which means get dressed, becomes ne t'habille pas, don't get dressed. And hurry up, dépêchez-vous, becomes ne vous dépêchez pas. In this exercise, we want to make up imperatives in the negative. And the answers are: number 1, ne te trompe pas. Number 2, ne vous reposez pas. Number 3, ne vous perdez pas. Number 4, ne te fâche pas. Number 5, ne t'explique pas. Number 6, ne nous ratons pas. Number 7, ne vous frappez pas. Number 8, ne vous battez pas. Number 9, ne te plains pas. Number 10, ne nous disputons pas. Now that we've seen how the imperative works, we can take a moment to look at the exceptions. There are 4 verbs that have an unpredictable outcome when we use them in the imperative. Être, avoir, savoir, and vouloir. The conjugation of être is sois, soyons, soyez. The conjugation of avoir is et, ayons, ayez. We don't want to say aille or aille, but et, as if we were saying the letter e with the accent. For ayons and ayez, the sound is that of e, with the accent that goes towards the left. Number 3, savoir, gives us sache, sachons, sachez, which could be translated to be aware. And number 4, vouloir, becomes veuille, veuillons, veuillez, which is mostly used in writing and not in spoken communication. This could translate to a polite request. Please accept to do this or that. You'll mostly encounter the imperative of vouloir on signs in public places, such as please wait here or please keep this place clean. Here we're going to practice the irregular verbs. We have words in green which will be used in our sentences. The first one is have patience. In French this gives us aie patience. Number 2, sois patient, and if it's used in the feminine, sois patiente. Number 3, soyons à l'heure. Number 4, sache que je t'entends. Number 5, soyez les bienvenus. Number 6, veuillez recevoir mon CV. Number 7, ayons confiance. To end this presentation, we'll briefly cover the imperatives when they're used with pronouns, which is very frequent in spoken communication. In a sentence such as give them to me, we have 2 pronouns. In French we would say donne-les-moi or ne me les donne pas. Les is a plural object which we're not naming, and moi means to me. In these 4 sentences we want to replace the words in orange by a single pronoun and incorporate it into our imperative sentence. In sentence A we want to say remind us of it later. In French this gives us rappelle-le-nous plus tard. In sentence B we want to say it to her or to him. The answer is dis-le lui. In sentence C we want to say show it to me. Montre-le-moi. In sentence D we want to say buy them for me. Achète-les-moi. In the next 12 sentences we want to find a French equivalent to the English imperatives. The middle column is given for the purpose of providing a context. In sentence 1 we're speaking about a present. Open it. The answer to number 1 is ouvre-le. Answer number 2, fais-le. Number 3, écris-lui. Number 4, lis-la. Number 5, lis-la-moi. Number 6, vends-la. Number 7, vends-la lui. Number 8, vois-le demain. Number 9, efface-les. Number 10, contacte-les. Number 11, montre-les-nous. Number 12, porte-la. And lastly, we'll look at the imperatives that incorporate the pronouns I and en. As a reminder, the pronouns en and I are used depending if the verb is followed by a or de. Example number 1, prends des pommes, becomes prends-en, take some. Number 2, pensez à notre discussion, pensez-y, think about it. I will usually replace a place that we're not naming, while en will usually replace an idea or an amount of objects. In this final exercise we want to replace all the words in orange with either en or I. And the answers are, number 1, vas-y. Number 2, choisis-en, or we could say choisis-en deux. Number 3, Fais-y attention. Number 4. Sois-y à 4 heures. Number 5. Prends-en. Number 6. Apporte-en. Number 7. Essaye-en. Number 8. Mange-en. Number 9. Jette-y tes papiers. Number 10. Envoie-y ton CV.